Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, Influence Colorist. My name is Noelle. It is completed pages time, and I hope that my pages will spark some inspiration for your coloring creativity. Okay, so let me move these to the side and get started. The first two pages come from a book that I kind of overlooked in the past, and it wasn't until I saw pages from the YouTube colorist A Cluttered Life that changed my perspective of this book. Not that I had any negative feelings about the book, it was just never on the top of my list. Her pages and her color palettes are always so inspiring. And then she also mentioned using oil pastels, and I really wanted to give that a try too. So, got the book and then got the oil pastels. All right, so this is Fairies in Dreamland by Denyse Klette. And the first page I did was kind of a practice page before doing a main page for a video. This one has a big open space to try out all those oil pastels and a sampling of some of these unique flowers, and of course a sleeping fairy that is a common theme in the book. So yeah, I thought this would be a perfect kind of practice page. I went for a dark blue night sky, no stars on this one, but then I wanted to do a glow around the flowers and the fairy here. So that was done with the oil pastels and then Prisma color pencil around for that glow. And I was surprised how nicely the color pencils went on top of the oil pastels. All right, I used my finger. I tried different ways like paper towel, tissue paper, Q-tips to spread the oil pastel around, but I felt like my finger did the best job. And then I used Gamsol, an odorless mineral spirit, and a small brush to move that oil pastel into these smaller areas. The rest is done with Ohuhu alcohol markers. And some color wash, which is just water-based markers and a water brush, and some sparkle on her wings. So let me see if I can get that to sparkle for you. Yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out and the color palette. So on to the second page, which is in the main part, and I did a video. So if you're interested in seeing the whole process, please check out the video of this page. I basically wanted to find a way to bring attention to the fairy, you know, the main character of the books. She is one of the smallest images. I mean, not so small, I guess, but just very thin and delicate. And she's right up against all these pillows and blankets. So it is kind of hard to make her out, along with some of the other ones in the book. Some of them are a little bit more prominent than others. But, you know, I want her to stand out and not blend in so much. So yeah, that was my goal. And I found inspiration for the sky and the color palette from the illustrator's own artwork. Denyse Klette is a Disney fine art artist and has a painting of Tinkerbell in this beautiful deep blue starry sky. So I definitely used that as my inspiration, and Tinkerbell's colors. So the green dress and yellow hair, a little bit of pink for those flowers. Oil pastel for the background again, and then white acrylic splatters with some white Posca just kind of dotted around too. A color wash for these blankets and pillows, and paint pens for little dot accents around inside the flowers and leaves. So Ohuhu alcohol markers for a base for everything, and then color pencil shading. Last thing was a fixative to spray over the top so the oil pastel doesn't get everywhere. One thing, it is very messy. I do like the way, the fixative makes the page feel. It's not like using water-based mediums that kind of leave your paper crinkled and buckled. So this feels just like all the other pages. It has a nice smoothness to it, so I like that. And I do like how the background has like a more solid, kind of smooth look than blotchy when I've tried other like water-based mediums. So yeah, I'm really happy with this. And I think all of this concept of keeping these kind of muted, washed out color, and then her more vibrant. Obviously the white wings kind of help bring attention against that dark sky. And then just a very kind of simple color palette, not too many colors. All right, I'll bring this up closer so hopefully you can get an idea of some of those shiny bits. But yeah, I'm really excited to come back and work in this book. I had a lot of fun with it. All right, the next page comes from the book Exploratorium by Lee Melendres. And I don't believe it is called Exploratorium anymore. I think you can find it under the title Fright and Seek. So just in case you were wanting to search this book. The storyline of this book are these little aliens and bizarre creatures taking over different lands and worlds. The pages can be very busy with all these creatures and things going around in the background. So I try to keep to a minimal color palette and color all the creatures the same color. So hopefully it creates a more cohesive look. So the page I did is called Food Fight. And let me zoom out just a little bit so you can get more of a full picture here. All right, so all these little creatures are in a cafeteria, and chaos ensues and food is flying everywhere. So here is my color palette. So green, pink, brown, yellow, and orange. And I visualized browns and greens because that is what I thought like a food fight would look like. Not very colorful, kind of gross looking. And so I used the green for all the little creatures here. And then the food, there's a lot of like browns and yellows for the food. And then I did these like bright colors of like ketchup getting squirted. There's mustard. Yeah, just some other splatters kind of in these brighter colors. And I felt like that helps break up so much of the green. Creatures were first colored with water-based markers and then color pencil shading on top. I find this method goes a lot faster when there's so much to color, and I keep the shading very, very simple. Paint pens were used to highlight certain areas, like on here, and any like little dots, food items. It's nice because these paint pens go right over the color pencil and they're usually a little bit more vibrant. All right, and then I used pan pastel for this big splatter here. Fun pages, just really busy, and they take a while to complete. So be prepared for that if you like little tedious things to do. Then we have some pages from the Europa book by Rita Berman. I was in the mood for something fall, and I knew there would be a few pages in here that had some falling leaves. So yes, I chose this page, or these two pages. This doesn't have to be a double page spread, but I treated it as if it were, a double page spread. I used Derwent ink tints, which works really nice in this book, and me and the ink tints get along really well in smaller areas, not so much bigger areas, but that's another story. So I really like the way they blend together for these leaves. And I like the idea of doing more like traditional British colors for inside these pictures and the stamps, some of the postage here. And then everything else was going to be in fall colors. I think all of the colors really came together really nicely. And then there's some darker grays kind of here and there around the pages too, which looks really nice. And then, I also used a very light blue water-based marker for any white shading. So inside some of those letters, like the glass in the window. And then I also used a gold paint pen. Let's see if that can pick up any of that gold. And then inside the leaves too. So just some little dotted accents there. All right, very nice fall page. Okay, next page comes from Yippee, Kawaii, Yay, Mandala Magic Volume 1 by Dani Banani of Funusual Suspects. And you can find this coloring book on Etsy. And I did the fast food fantasy. And yeah, look at all these cute little faces on here. So this is when you realize how much yellow and brown food you eat. I kept the food containers to a traditional like fast food color palette. I do like all the red up against the yellow, and I really felt like it needed a background color, which I normally don't do in these books. But I think the contrast of the light blue really helped make everything stand out. I used Ohuhu markers, with just some very simple shading in them. And let's see, and fine liners for these little tiny areas. I kind of wish I left the ice cream white for vanilla ice cream. I just automatically chose chocolate because, well, I like chocolate. But as soon as I colored one, I thought of the poop emoji, and every time I colored one, that's all I can think about. So hopefully me pointing that out doesn't make it so you can't unsee it now. Sorry about that. Paint pens for the salt and the pretzel, and sesame seeds on the bun, some little texture here and there, and sprinkles to hopefully make it look more like ice cream and not that poop emoji. So anyway, really fun page. These always bring a smile to my face because they're just so adorable. All right, next book, page comes from Wonderland Animals, and I'm going to show you the publisher name. So I'll just put it up here so you guys can see. The artwork is by Chiaki Karamomo, and I purchased this book from 70 East Books. I thought I purchased it from Etsy, which there is a seller that has these, but then I came across a goodie bag when I was cleaning up around here and found this little bag with some it was like watercolor paper, some other little coloring sheets, and a cute little pin. Oh, it must be somewhere else. But yeah, so it's always fun to receive a little gift you weren't expecting. So a little shout out to 70 East Books for great customer service. All right, so I did a video on this page and I called it Copycat because I like the challenge of trying to create and copying from the original artwork. Let me find the page. So I did this little ferret. So this is the original from the artist. I guess I shouldn't say original. It is a printed version from the artist. Cute little ferret here. And then, oop, I lost the page. And then this is my version. I kind of wish they had the copy on the page. it would be a lot easier to copy from. I'll just keep flipping it back and forth here. All right, so this is my version. It is slightly more yellow than the original, but overall I think it's a pretty darn good match of colors. I used water-based markers to create that watercolor look and get all those like color variations. And then very light color pencil shading. But then I also used color pencils for darkening up the fur texture. I used Prismas on this page, mostly because I was finding good color matches, but it's actually better to do fur and hair with like a harder lead just to maintain that sharp point. Okay, so here is the artist version. And then here's mine. Yeah, I love all the images in here. Really unique pictures. I love all the animals and then the color palettes in here. But yeah, I just really liked this ferret. It was just kind of a simple but sweet page. Alrighty, next page is coming from Mandalen by Maria Trolle or Trolle. I'm calling this page Octopus Hair because it looks like her hair is turning into the arms of an octopus, which then twists and combines into these vines around the edges. I love this type of medallion look, but I did give her this blue dress, so it was just kind of a head and then all these, but I felt like it needed to be grounded a little bit, so it didn't look like just this floating head. I used shades of orange and like rust colors for the hair that goes into these octopus arms, and then these kind of fade into some peach and like pinkish purple for the vines. This teal color really stands out against all of those other colors, and oh yeah, I just really like this like pinkish like peach to pink color against the purple. I think that's so pretty. So I've been sticking with a color palette, this one color palette for the whole book so far anyway. That is my plan. And it's a big color palette, but it allows for some versatility within the pages, but maintains a consistency throughout, like you would find in a storybook. So quite a few polychromos, some Prismacolors, and a few Black Widows. All right, there is that one. Next page comes from Guardians of the Enchanted Forest, and I also did a video from this one too. So this is illustrated by Forest Diver. And for my finding inspiration, my inspiration came from the artist Gustav Klimt in his golden phase. And you can check out my video for some more info on him and his artwork. Titles of his paintings include The Kiss and the Portrait of Adele Blockbauer. So yeah, a lot of gold is what I was going for and wanted all this bamboo in gold and lots of gold accents with just a little pops of some red, blue, and green. And then her hair, I wanted this nice dark brown hair to contrast against that gold bamboo. I used the alcohol markers for the bamboo in like yellow and golden shades. But then I also wanted to use a bunch of other like golden, type products. So I have some gold glitter watercolor, and I'll hold this up closer so I can move it around for you. And let's see, gel pens and gold acrylic paint. I'm not a huge fan of this gold glitter. It's really pretty. It is, oh, there is picking it up. It's very pretty, very sparkly, but I'm just not sure I like it in these little paisley shapes. So that's probably the only thing I'm not super happy with it, but it was supposed to represent the gold leaf like in his paintings. Other than that, it looks pretty good, and I really like that inspiration using an artist. So when I think of fall, I think of woodland animals and forest themes, and I found an owl page in this book. It is Worlds of Wonder by Johanna Basford, and let's see. Yeah, I liked this owl sitting on this cute little cottage house with flowers around what looked like a circular moon. There was a big circle right here. And then I went looking for owl images on Pinterest, and I came across this graphic here. I will put it on the side. And I really liked this like wood kind of circular wreath. And I wanted to like try to draw it on the page. So I think I did a pretty good job of camouflaging the original circular line. It's really hard to make it out. Like I can see it if I really search for it, but I think it came out pretty good. So I used warm like oranges and like rust colors, golden yellows, and then like some mauves and light yellows for the owl. I think if I would do it over, I might do lighter yellow eyes or just brighter yellow eyes and leave out the orange, but I think it looks pretty good. I thought about coloring these little flowers light blue, but I actually really like them in white. So yeah, I'm really happy with all the colors and how everything works together in the page. I used Crayola Colors of the World for the wood wreath, and a few Lumi pencils, and then quite a few Brute Furners, which I'm not a huge fan of the Brute Furner pencils, but they do have some really unique colors that I don't have in my other collections, and just really nice colors for like fall palettes. So yeah, some of these like rust colors and mauve colors, really nice. And then pan pastel for the background here, some yellows and browns kind of mixed in there. And then teal for the night sky. So I didn't want anything too dark, and yeah, I thought the pan pastels was nice to work in this book. And then white Posca for the moon, which again I added that in, and then the stars. So yeah, really happy with the way this feels, very fallish. All right, the last page is going to be from Disney Mandalas by Hachette Heroes. And I think I picked this page because I've been seeing a lot of advertisements for the new Pinocchio movie. So yeah, here is Pinocchio. I do like to look up the pictures from original movies and use those colors. Of course, now that I'm finished with it, I wish I had done something a little differently. I think because there's so many characters on the page, you kind of lose that mandala look. Like a lot of the pages, you can see like a good mandala like style. You know, them done in a round. Let's see if I can find some better ones here. Yeah, like this one, you can see the Tigger kind of repeats in all the corners. With this one, which is a little different than some of the other pages, some of these main characters are only repeated twice. So yeah, you have Geppetto, I believe. Oh my gosh, I can't remember some of these names. Jiminy Cricket repeating only twice, which I don't even know why they added like a little one here, because we have the big one here. Obviously, the main character, Pinocchio, is just singular right here in the center. But yeah, I'm thinking maybe I could have done these background characters in like grayscale, more monochromatic, and maybe that would have allowed these other characters to stand out a little bit more. I think there's just so many characters that It's just kind of overwhelming, and it's hard to kind of see things individually. So I used Ohuhu alcohol markers and just some simple shading with the markers. And let's see, let me get up close. I used a Wing Castella for the blue fairy's wings and some like paint pens there. You can see that shine on her dress. And then I did use, it's the Sakura Jelly Roll glaze in clear on the 8-ball and then on this fishbowl too. So just a little bit to kind of outline. This one is different than like my more dimensional glazes. I have the diamond glaze, and then I think there's one called Glossy Accents maybe. I think those like puff up a little bit more. The diamond glaze definitely like puffs up a little bit more, but this definitely adds a nice like shiny glossy accent. So yeah, still works well. Fun to do. Again, I think I wish I would have thought of doing something a little bit differently before. So anyway, that is it. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm really excited to get started on Halloween coloring. I hope you are too. I can't wait to see what everyone does. So I will see you next month. Thanks for watching and happy coloring.